Aye.
You good? I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Parks and Recreation Board, Tuesday, November 28th of 2023. Please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Item number 3, roll call, if you would, Mr. O'Shea.
All right. Cindy Seuss.
Here.
Mike Moffett. Here. Barb Tousley.
Present.
Dave Eastholm.
Here. Okay, item number 4, consent agenda. Item A is claims. Mike, if you would elaborate, please.
Yes. Before you there in your packet is a list of the claims. This pretty much goes from October 14th all the way to November 17th. The total amount of the claims that are before you are $56,907.65.
Okay. Any discussion on these? Any questions? All right, hearing none, I will entertain a motion to accept the claims as posted here.
I will make that motion.
Thank you, Cindy. Do I have a second?
Barb Tousley will second.
Thank you, Barb. So I have a motion, I have a second. All in favor of accepting the claims as posted here for the time frame of mid-October to mid-November, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the ayes have it. Next, we have a series of minutes that we need to address. We'll start with B, minutes from the October 23rd, 2023 Park and Recreation Study Session. This is a study session. That should be your first line item there on
Yes.
any questions or concerns about them minutes. Any discussion there? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion to accept the minutes from the study session on October 23rd of 2023.
I will make that motion.
Thank you, Cindy.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Mike. I have a motion, I have a second to accept the minutes of October 23rd, 2023 Park and Recreation Study Session. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay.
I abstain, though.
You abstain, okay. So we have
Not
3
having been present.
and 1 abstention. All right, item C, minutes from the October 24th, 2023 Park and Recreational Board meeting. That should be the second set of minutes in your packet. Any question or discussion on them? Okay, hearing none, I will entertain a motion to accept the minutes of the October 24th Parks Recreation Board meeting.
Barb Tousley, I'll make a motion to
Thank you,
accept
Barb.
those minutes. I will second that.
Thank you, Cindy. So we have a motion, we have a second to accept the minutes for October 24th Park Recreation Board meeting. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right. The ayes have that. Item D, minutes from the November 2nd, 2023 study session at 5 o'clock. This was with softball. Any question or discussion on them meeting minutes?
I'll make a motion. Barb Tousley, make a motion to accept the minutes as printed.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mike. So I have a motion, I have a second to accept the minutes of the November 2nd, 2023, 5 o'clock Park Recreation Study Session. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
I have to abstain.
Okay. So it's 3 with 1 abstention. All right, and then the 7 o'clock, November 7th, 2023 Park Recreation Study Session minutes. This is with boys baseball.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes as printed.
All right, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. Thank you, Mike. All right, so we have a motion, we have a second to accept the last set of minutes for November 2nd, 2023 at the 7 o'clock Parks Recreation Study Session. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
I have to abstain again.
And one abstention because Cindy was not here. Okay. Moving on. New business, item 5. The Gates Park Improvement Project. Mike, if you would elaborate on that.
Yeah, so there's 2 items underneath here. And the first one here would be the possible recommendation of the Gates Park Improvement Project walking path bid. So the Tuesday, the 21st, we held our bid opening here at Town Hall. We had 3 bids, and on your packet there, you could see who the bidders were and the highest to the lowest amount. Also, on the side of your packet there, I didn't put it in your packet, I got it late, but there is a letter from Robinson Engineering, the engineer who had been working with is Dave Weber on this particular project, giving a summary of the bid opening. I know we were going back and forth on some emails, also with our attorney as well. So we are here basically to give a recommendation that would go to the town council based on the bid information. Out of the 3, Site Services was the lowest bid that we had in the walking path project. At the bid opening, we did run into a thing where they did not submit their bid bond. I also mentioned document 96 as well, but we had that as well. So the one thing they did not submit was the bid bond, but we do have it listed, and if you go through Dave's document here that he wrote and what Nicole had mentioned, it would be up to you guys if you still would want to accept it, basically, which we can. We can. They did submit a bid bond shortly after the bid opening, which today I did forward it over to the clerk treasurer's office, so they had it, so they could just include it with everything. So anyway, the Site Services was the lowest bid here. It was at $249,764. That was higher than the engineer estimate that we have. We do have a CDBG block grant funds that was with the council. That was at the amount of $80,456. So basically, our part of this would be the $249,764 minus the $80,456. So basically, for the first part here, and I can answer any further questions that you would have and stuff like that, is to, if you want to, we can review this, talk about this, but then if we're good on using the lowest bidder here, then we would need to make a Well, actually, first got to make a motion on waiving the bid bond error that was not in the bid packaging. And then make a motion to make a recommendation over to the town council, and then this would go to the next town council meeting for possible approval.
Okay.
And the funding for this would obviously come out of the 4651 Park and Recreational Fund, the park impact fees.
Okay. Nicole, any issues on your end?
Mike itemized it correctly there that, as you stated, you have the option to waive any technical error and can, or technical requirement and can accept the bid as you do. If you decide in your review that Site Services, as they recommend, is the most responsible bidder, you can proceed to do so. My recommendation is that you first have a motion that's voted on prior to making the selection there. If you are inclined to accept Site Services for your consideration, to waive that technical requirement and accept their bid in full for your bid bond, and then to proceed from there. If you are going to pick all 3, then to vote thereafter as to which was specifically.
Okay.
Did they give a reason why they forgot it?
Yeah, it was just missed.
Omission?
Oversight.
Actually, if you go through the Robinson Engineer document that was there, he did quote the email. He sent an email after that And, where is it?
In a rush.
Yeah, in a rush. I'm just looking, where are you at now? I'm
Yeah.
looking for- yeah, he just stated, in a rush this morning, I failed to include the bid bond, please see attached. And that was it. It was just forgotten.
And what I would point out about it is, in reviewing the bid bond, it's the bond that's been in place. They have those bonds for a year. It's not where it was something that was acquired that day. So I think it supports the document as just having not been included and not something that was created or obtained after the fact. But again, that is solely, your call as a board of accepting that.
Can I ask a question? So, how long is this actual path of asphalt that they're laying down?
1,560 linear feet, and then it's 8-foot wide asphalt path.
I don't have a calculator or a brain that can calculate. What, is that
Roughly a third of a mile,
a third of a mile for $250,000?
8 foot wide, yep.
Yeah, and again, this would complete, we have the half path that's there now. This would complete the path that's there now, so then you can go a full circle around.
For $250,000?
Yeah,
Very normal.
yeah, I mean, honestly, I mean, I know our engineer estimate was $182,785.50. So obviously it is high. I would, from doing a few of these projects, just experience of doing a few of these projects, since 2020 even, it does seem like a lot of the just in general, everything is just higher, just in general and stuff. I don't think if we were to go out to bid again, I don't believe we would get anything lower than what we have here. I mean, you could always try and see what could be done, but
8-foot ride, so we can drive on it. Do we not have any idea how many people use this?
well, this is phase one. So like phase two of it would be adding the hard courts, basketball court, tennis court, and the pickleball courts. It does get a lot of use now because of the playground that was installed, and then obviously the skate park's on the opposite side. We started the soccer league this year on Saturdays here in the fall, so we do plan on continuing to do that. So it is supposed to be, I mean, the plan I think all along has been to make this like one of the main parks over in this end of St. John, basically and stuff. So. It does get use, I would say. I do see people walking on it, on the half path that we have. I know the playground gets use. I mean, I don't have exact numbers as far as what gets, how much it gets used. But I know when we did run the soccer league on Saturdays, we, actually you can tell probably from the garbage actually, because you usually got to go over it at least twice during the week just to clear everything out. And when we had soccer, you had to clear out, and pretty much that day even. No, it was just one garbage can too and stuff like that. So on that end, there's one over on the skate park side too. So, but with the intent of doing the hard courts, and then hopefully later on the pavilion with the bathrooms, the potential of more people using it should increase.
Are you guys favoring site?
I believe site services would be our best bet to do this. I have personally never worked with site services, but I have seen their trucks around and stuff, and even talking with our engineer as well, that there was nothing, even in the bid, there was nothing that would have cause for concern, in my opinion.
Who put in the original path, do you know?
You don't have
The
it
what,
in
I'm
the-
sorry?
Put in the original path?
Oh, that I don't know. No, I apologize.
I don't know. I can find the answer for
I
that,
was just-
but-
I guess I'm assuming it was none of the three that bid on this. I was just wondering perhaps why. That's all. Okay,
I think that was early in the subdivision.
okay,
Like, that was just a straight shot from
yeah,
Klein to Park.
sure. No, I mean,
And that was many years ago.
yeah, it seems to me that it's probably 8 to 10 years ago.
Right, I mean, it could have easily been one of the, but I know that was a long time ago.
Okay, so it could have been even a developer that may have,
Exactly.
okay. Yeah, I don't know. I was just asking a question. All right, so I guess to start this process, if there's no further discussion, we'd have to entertain a motion to accept the bid
We'll waive the,
and waive
error first.
the error for site services on the bond, 5% bond payment, correct?
Yes, which we do have now,
So we have
On
that
submission of the
document.
document.
Right.
It's waiving the technical,
Technical misuse or
or just error
Error, okay.
in submitting all required documents or in submitting specifically the bond document by the deadline.
Okay. So I entertain a motion for that.
And, sorry, one other thing on here too. Also, for the site services, I don't know if I read it off of my document here, but it actually, the actual amount is $249,754. I said 64. So it was, the correct amount is on the Robinson form here.
Okay.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Mike. So I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second?
All right, I have a second. Thank you, Cindy. So then all in favor of approving this bid with the omission of this document that was later put in, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any nays? Okay, the
Nay.
ayes. Nay? Barb?
Yes, nay.
Okay. So it's 3-1. All right, now, discussion on the actual bid and bidders. As if we look, we can see that, yes, site services is the cheapest by a little bit, but dramatically different from Reith Riley, which is almost twice as much. So there are some very different numbers there. With the recommendation of the superintendent, is there any issue with site services bid other than what we just took care of? Because this will be nothing more than a recommendation to the town council.
Correct. Which will go to the December meeting.
Any questions? Barb, any questions? Okay. Cindy, good?
No.
Okay. Then I will entertain a motion to, a recommendation to the town council to accept the bid from Site Services for the amount of $754,000, and the, what was the CCMG grant, was like 80?
Yeah, the CDBG block grant funds were $80,456.
Okay. So, and that is subtracted from this 249, correct?
Correct,
Okay.
correct.
I'm sorry, that's subtracted from that?
Well, yeah, the 80, so 80,450, well, we would have to, okay, so the 249, right? And then the 80,456 would be paid from the Lake County.
No, I understand, but you're saying subtracted from the 249. Their bid is for the 249.
Right.
You're
Well,
referencing just payment
The
would be
payment, I
made
misrepresented
in
the payment,
part
yes.
from the CDBG
Correct.
dollars.
Yes,
Okay.
yes,
Not,
yes. Not
I'm
to
just clarifying
yeah,
that for
not to
purpose of what you're-
subtract it off of here or anything, right? So
We're
it's
No, no,
addressing
no, we
the
would make
bid
the
amount is
payment,
the
then get
240.
that money back, correct? Is that how it
well,
works?
normally with the
No.
block grant, the Lake County in a sense pays, they will pay that straight out.
Okay.
So there are requirements that I know site services are able to do it too. There are requirements that they have to go
meet.
through with the county too, and submit certain invoices. So we will not see that $80,456
We are,
$1,000.
Okay.
we are realizing probably a cost of 169.
You can't look at it that way.
Well,
You're
yeah.
addressing the bid and whether or not you're
I know,
accepting
but
the
I have to
bid.
have in my mind of spending $250,000 for somebody to walk around on something.
I understand. I'm just
Now, and
addressing it
coming
related
out of
to,
the park money. That's my only reason is to try to decide of how I'm going to vote on this. Okay, thank you.
No, it's an honest question. Nothing wrong
yeah.
with that.
I'm just
I
addressing it for
have-
purposes of the motion.
Right,
That it's,
right.
No, nothing to do with the motion or.
And quite honestly, it's our recommendation goes to the town council, and they may accept it, they may not.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no guarantee. I don't know why they wouldn't, but they may have objections, and I would, I can understand if they would. It is what it is.
I know a lot of the future barb is bike paths and putting in and everything. This is actually a fair price. That's about what they're gonna cost. And we're talking putting like probably miles of bike paths throughout the town and different stuff. That's why we try to get the builders to put them in their subdivisions and everything. 'Cause
Yeah,
it
and
saves us that
and I can see
money.
the builders who make all this big money putting them in.
Right,
you
and like I
know?
said, well, I'm not gonna say it, but part of it was put in before us.
Yeah.
And part of this park is we always wanted to have that circle track, people that go out there and jog. I mean, it's gonna be a nice addition to that park, and it adds on to our bike paths in the town.
As long as you live over there.
Well, we're gonna be faced with tying some of them, developer bike paths in here, there, and everywhere, just on how it goes. I think that's just that's an issue we're gonna face in the future.
Well, and if it gives you any point of reference too, I obviously this is prior to the raised rates currently, but generally speaking, about a mile of roadway is typically over $1 million to install.
Yes, oh, yeah.
So, if you break that down or make your comparison there, and obviously the CDBG grant funds are, only can be used for certain type things, and in this situation where it's the ADA compliant, so it's the designation for such things as bike paths and things of that nature that provide for ADA use. So, it's not where those funds can just be used for anything in that regard
Right,
either.
yeah.
Okay. Anybody else have any discussion? All right, so once again, I will entertain that motion to accept and recommend site services to the town council to finish that section of path with the grant in place. And the bid is for $249,754.
I'll make the motion to go with site services.
All right, so I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. Thank you, Cindy. So we have the motion for the recommendation. We have a second. All in favor of recommending this to the town council for approval signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. So that will be recommended to the town council, whether they get to it with this council or next council, however that works itself out. We will cross that bridge when we get to it. Okay. Resolution 2301, authorizing and approving the entry into an intergovernmental agreement for with the town of St. John. Mike, can you expand on that?
Yeah, and I did retitle it, or redo the number, just as an FYI, but
O2.
we did resolution number, we just put in Park 2023-11-28.
Okay, perfect.
So.
I was gonna say, 'cause I think there's a few that have
Yeah.
gone before. So.
Yeah. So that's what I have here for possible.
So 23-11,
2023-11-28, basically the date. today's
okay.
date.
Okay.
And this was put together by our attorney, and this is just an intergovernmental agreement between us and the town of St. John. The town of St. John owns that particular property over at the gates. Obviously, we talked about the block grant as well. And this will basically be just a resolution to work together on the project. There would be another resolution that will go to the town council as well, but that's all I really have. Did you, anything else that I'm forgetting on there, Nicole?
No, and first and foremost, I would propose this, I'll print out a new one, but subject to, I see that there's a typo, and I apologize, Dave, there's an extra E in your last name.
That's
and
okay.
a carry over on some lines here that, I apologize, I didn't catch previously. Because of the ownership of the lot, or of the two parcels that make up the parks here in the gates, as Mike had indicated, because they're under ownership of the town, but by the role of the park board as well as the role by statute of any Parks and Rec department in having authority over parks within the jurisdiction of a town. The intergovernmental agreement is required because of that ownership that is not under the parks, as well as the use of joint funds, one being the grant that is awarded to the town, but secondly, then the park funds that are, the park impact fees and other funds that are under your control. So the resolution itself is this board deciding to take action and enter into the resolution, which is why that is passed as Exhibit A, so it's a consideration. And then upon approving, if you do in fact approve the resolution to enter into the agreement, then we got the agreement separately as being what is signed, so it's a contract in and of itself. So it's not a duplicate, it's actually, so there's full consideration of the document. But this then identifies the roles of the parties. As you can see from the resolution, as you can see from the the intergovernmental agreement, after the bids are awarded, then the control management of the project under the agreement would remain in the hands of the park board. So short of once the, like I've indicated, once the bids are awarded, once the contracts are awarded, then the actual management is not going to require dual approval from this board as well as from the town council. The management control would remain here, and by this agreement, that's the town council authorizing the park board to act on its behalf. The only thing that would then go in front of both would be for purposes of payment when it's addressing the CDBG dollars.
Will this stay kind of the same way? Like, in the future, will this, like, is this kind of making it so it'll be the park's property, the whole thing? Or would it always be kind of split, we'll just work together?
It's just the management of it, because it's under the ownership of the council, it's still, or of the town, I should say. And because the park board is a separate legal entity from the town is why it requires, that process. It's not, through the intergovernmental agreement, it's not transferring ownership, it's not transferring permanent control, it's just management of this project.
Is that something we want to do in the future, or not really? Just kind of
No, it is, and in fact, on prior ones that have been on, we've done the same thing in the past on properties that are owned by the town. There's, I believe, 5 of the parks within the town that are actually owned by the park board or by the Park and Rec department. Everything else within the town is, and it is owned by the town, and it's really just the way it was dedicated at the time of plating. Or an after, acquisition later that was done, and it was done into the name of the town. It's not that it makes a whole lot of difference as to who owns the property, but when it's not by the parks, then there needs to be an intergovernmental agreement. Protects everybody.
And then the council would have to vote on this then to agree to this also.
Yep, and this is what we've done in the past with, I don't believe there's been, well, I know we did it for Founder's Park. I know we did it for the skate park. So there's been other ones in that sense, but I think it's all been before the current board. Mike, if you remember in the past when we've done this, for the same purpose because of that, just because of the ownership.
And do you, will we need to do this agreement for every phase of that park?
Nope. Well, yes, in the sense that right now what is contracted is for just the path.
Correct.
As being, so yes, we would do it for the next one.
So if we do the next phase, we would,
Yes.
okay.
Yep, and in part because that authority only extends over once, quite frankly, the funding is determined. So once the money is identified and the bids are awarded, because in that circumstance, it allocates or appropriates the money accordingly, and then once it's the control over that project itself, to then be handed over to the board.
So you want a motion for this intergovernmental agreement?
A motion to, yes, approve and authorize the signing of that and to enter, into that
We're
relationship
saying
with the
okay
town.
based on what the town council has to say, correct?
Well, you're saying on your side of it, yes, and then they
Okay.
have to agree as well.
to say
Yep.
it.
So that's where I have a reciprocal resolution for the council
Okay.
to approve in their vote, hopefully that they would so approve as they have in the past, for this relationship, and then likewise to have them sign the contract. They would then be signing the same contract that then you're signing, so that there's a record of that for both offices.
Could you please read how the motion should then be gone so that we can have that on the record?
Sure. Recommend that you motion to approve and authorize entering into the intergovernmental agreement with the town council for the construction of improvements at Gates Park.
Okay, I will make that motion.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Mike. So we have a motion, we have a second to approve and recommend this intergovernmental agreement with the town of St. John. All in favor of this motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. All right, so that, now it's in the court of the town council. Item B under new business, pond maintenance services for 2024.
So this is just some early here that I was able to get together here. I have pricing here from Lake and Pond Biologists to go ahead and do the pond maintenance for our 4 ponds: Lindsay Park, Prairie West Park, Lewis Estates Pond, and Homestead Acres Park. And then also servicing the fountains, the 2 fountains that we have at Prairie West Park, and then the one over at Lewis Estates Pond. They would install and remove and store and clean up at the end of the year, and then obviously at the beginning of the year. So we were using a person previously. I know they were no longer going to be doing the fountain pulling, and had said they were unsure about the spraying of the ponds. We have used this company here during the summer. They did the stocking of the fish that we did over at Prairie West Park, and then also at Homestead Acres Park. These guys also did the work to remove the ponds, or remove the fountains here at the end of the year at Prairie West Park and Lewis Estates. So anyway, this particular agreement is for the year of 2024, and it would be for $8,825 for the spraying of those 4 ponds throughout the year, and the servicing of the 3 fountains that we have. $8,000 is for spraying of the 4 ponds, and then $825 is for the fountain maintenance, as you can see. So it was my recommendation to go ahead and use Lake and Pond Biologists for 2024 ponds maintenance services.
And the insurance for the winterization covers?
Well, yeah, they would submit a certificate of insurance.
Cracked from it not being, all the water not being out, then it would be covered, or
With the water not?
the water, yeah, in it, in, if the fountain, I mean, if they
Well, the
didn't take
fountain
it all
broke,
out.
well, yeah, I mean, this year, we had to replace Lewis Estates. There was, the plug was chewed through, like, for example. So if something breaks while it's out there,
Right.
yeah, we'll be fixing that. But, yeah, I mean, yes, if anything breaks, I guess why they're storing it.
Okay.
You know, then,
And if they've done work for us already, then they are an approved vendor for the town, then, correct?
yes, yeah. They, like I said, they did the fish stocking that we had asked, and then the pulling of the fountains for the fall here. So, but I think it's I think the price is good, especially for the 4. And remember, we usually were doing 3. This past year, we added Lindsay Park as the 4th pond to service. That was being serviced by the HOA of Lake Hills, but we took that one. We took that one over.
Okay.
Are they pretty comparable with who we had last year?
Yeah.
Ballpark?
I believe last year we ended up, I believe this past year was 7,500, if I can remember correctly. You don't remember off the top of your head, no, something like that. So I believe it was 7,500. It was 7,000, but then we added the 4th pond, so to make it 7,500. So, and the two companies have worked with each other too. Like when I've talked to the one guy had to go for shoulder surgery, I know, and Lake and Pond had filled in and stuff like that as needed. So yes, I think it's a good price, and just would be get one thing off the plate for upcoming year.
Okay. Any other questions or discussion? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion to use Lindsay Park Pond for 2024 pond spraying and also for fountain maintenance for the amount of $8,825.
No, it was
If we pay it early.
Lake and Pond biology. You said Lindsay Pond.
It says
I did that. I did say Lindsay, but Lake Pond. Right.
Yeah.
if we pay it early, it's like $300 cheaper, isn't it?
It is cheaper if you pay earlier.
Correct.
But then we would have to, I guess I would have to talk with the clerk's office on that. Then they would be paying for it.
So
before
approve
it's
the
done.
high amount, if we pay it off early and
Yeah.
we save, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't know if that mattered. All right, perfect.
But yes, it is cheaper if we go.
I'll make the motion.
Okay. So I have a motion for the Lake and Pond biology to do this work for the amount of $8,825 pending maybe an early payment. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I will second that.
Thank you, Cindy. So we have this motion, we have a second, so this is the amount that we're looking at. Hopefully, maybe we can pay it off at one time and save ourselves a few dollars. Every dollar helps. Now that we've entertained this motion, I will hear it approved signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay. Motion granted. All right. Item 6, old business. Youth ball field lease agreements.
So, yeah, just added this on more of information and just obviously just to keep it in the loop, so as we had our November 2nd study session and stuff. But this basically, I just wanted to show that I was finally able to get the, I got everything from the clerk's office, but me finally was able to kind of go through them all and just going through what was Heartland Park, Civic Park, so on and so forth. So just so you can see, this is what I was able to find for the water services, which on the back page of your packet there, the top part would have been water, and the bottom would have been just electric. So the water services there says, it's St. John Baseball Sprinkler, St. John Baseball Concession, Babe Ruth Sprinkler, Babe Ruth Concession, and then the Civic Concession Stand, and then the girls softball sprinkler / concession. So from what I was able to gather, it looked like that was altogether for the year $10,982.48 combined for all of them. It was split in between two funds. The 2204, which is a park fund, was $3,349.09, and then the 1101-006-354, which is the general fund, which normally is used for Civic Park, was $7,488.85. So that was basically everything for the water. And then on the NIPSCO side of things, I gathered everything that I found. The only item that I haven't, because I just did everything on Monday and stuff like that. But over at Civic Park, there's two different meters. I don't believe both meters are for the actual ball field ice, for example, and stuff. I would have to verify that. But I left everything in here just so you can see. The first thing was White Oak Avenue building for baseball. There was a White Oak Avenue building, girls and girls second. It showed there, and then White Oak Avenue building baseball 2, and then Civic Park had two different meters there. So, and I see I did not put the overall total on this and stuff like that. But the first building for baseball was $4,530.08. The next one that should have been girls softball was $8,410.99. Up above too, I put the appropriation numbers that was put onto the invoice or the bill, basically, just so you can see where basically where it would have came out from. The second one was for base 2 there was $16,858.26. And then Civic Park, one was $595.56, the other one was $669.32. So, that's what I had referenced over at the meeting that we had in the second, and these were just the numbers I was able to pull from the invoices that the clerk's office were able to send. And I did send those to you too.
Yes.
If you want to take a look at them too, see if there's something missed and stuff like that.
Did softball and baseball get,
I have no.
okay,
no, I have
so we
not.
need to do that.
Yeah, I did it on Monday. I just wanted to. I figured I was just wait till
Okay.
this so you guys saw them. But yes, I can do that.
Well, I think what we need to do is separate them all so that there's no, because obviously in talking to the town manager and also to the clerk treasurer's office to investigate this mysterious Civic Park lease, none has been
We have
found.
not found any. Yeah.
So unless boys baseball can produce the only claimed copy, then we will have to write a different agreement with boys baseball for Civic Park, including and not including some of the amenities that may go along with that. That's as much as I know. I know Beth and her staff looked for a few days trying to find anything on paper. It could not. So,
I sent an email, Dave, to Alex Kutnowski, attorney for baseball, advising him of that
Okay.
both between what you had in your office as well as what the clerk treasurer had searched hers, that there was no record that the town could locate.
Right.
And they were pretty adamant that they had that at the same time in 2016.
Correct.
That if that is the case, can you provide that to me? He had emailed me back and said, I will see what I can do. So, in that meeting even, they were, right, we're pretty sure we have this, but it wasn't where anybody really had their hands on something at that present moment. So we'll see what comes back with. I don't know that other than to reference what that agreement was as kind of the right discussion point, or launching pad, if you will, to determine for the next one. I don't know that it's imperative if we don't have it, because it'd be drafted anew regardless, but clearly, if it was in whatever is the current circumstances, is definitely something I think the board would want to consider. I did have a question, though. I know, Mike, you had mentioned, because I think one of the considerations in these costs for the water and for the NIPSCO, and the way that they had it broken down, I know that for the girls softball, like there was referencing on these invoices about concessions. Like even that's how NIPSCO has it identified.
Yeah. Yeah.
But were you able to make any other, because I was, in trying to going through these, to identify, obviously, it's like, let's even, I guess maybe the more vague ones, the two civic
Yes. So
meters,
yeah.
and what those are going to, I guess, again,
Yeah.
how much is potentially would be part of a lease and how much is,
Like the general lights,
yes,
just
yes.
security
General use.
lights and
Yep.
stuff like
Any
that. So, yeah.
anything you're able to determine? With those?
Yeah, so I was able to get the meter stuff from Civic Park, mainly because they had that on the bill. I've done a little bit of looking. I've got the account numbers and stuff, as you can see on here too and stuff. I was still going to go through and still see if I can sync them up the best as possible.
Based on those meters, what
Based on
those
those
are
meters
going
and where
to.
they're going to, because like girls softball, the building. I think it should be that building, because that's the only thing that's out there.
And that's
for-
even how they have them identified
Yeah.
within some of these, is it's not so much on all of them, but once you get into it, where they have it marked as, I think it says CONCESS, is like
Mm-hmm.
a shortened on it of just the concessions.
Yes, and like this, like on here too said base 2. Now I took that as baseball too, because it said it was shortened for base, but like
Yeah, but for what, there again, the fact that they have these and they're laid out as, separate meters, it was separate accounts even for that matter, but if there
Mm-hmm.
was anything, the baseball versus, because they still have it as a building, and then baseball, and then building base 2. If
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
something that the town classified at the point of opening these accounts, or?
it could have been. The other thing, since there was three of them that listed White Oak Avenue, I was thinking one would have been the youth baseball, and one, the building, the concession over youth baseball, then the building in the concession area over girls softball, and maybe base 2 would have been Babe Ruth or something. over there and stuff. So, I'll.
Maybe that'll do, depending upon where the source of
Yeah.
the meters are actually on site.
Yeah. So, I mean, I was even going to call them NIPSCO, which I have not done yet. I was going to call them this week to even try to clarify, just a little bit more, just so we get more of the exact findings more than anything else. Because I know, like girls softball, there's a security light that we had out there that, it's part of the park, but that was on, 24 hours a day.
Sure.
And we just changed that. We just fixed that, so now it's only on at night. But it was linked to the bathroom, basically. It was linked to a switch over.
Got it.
With the bathroom and stuff, so, and the same breaker, I should say. But this was everything, I went through them all, like I said, and this was everything that I found that was either listed as, White Oak Avenue or Civic Park.
Well, and I think too, in my review of going kind of through these as well, what's under the, I guess, the 047 account, the first one identified just as the building baseball, that is, significantly lower than the 054 building base 2 for baseball.
Yeah, right.
It's less than a quarter of the 2023 charges, roughly 4,500 compared to 18,000. The other thing that I cross-referenced, because they were only able to get a year, is in looking at these invoices, they would give you the prior month usage, the 13-month usage. So I kind of cross-referenced that too, because that gave the comparable usage, the kilowatts for 2022. And although it's not at a rate, even figuring out the base rate in 2023 for a single kilowatt to kind of do a cross comparison of that, to get a 2-year, since I know they only pulled out a year.
Sure.
To get a 2-year, and I was kind of in the process of going through this based on my last conversation with Alex Kutnowski, but on the baseball numbers that it was looking like, it was about almost 24,000 for 2023, but closer to a little over 31,000 for 2022, based on those usage amounts. So at least I know they were hoping to get 3 years worth, obviously.
Yeah.
Even on an estimate with that. But I think that the next question would be, right, as we've already said, what's the source?
Correct. Yes.
Because I think that's really going to turn into the breakdown on any
Yeah.
cost appropriation.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think the water is pretty much straightforward, because I know we don't really do much with the water, minus maybe, having Civic Park open for bathrooms and stuff when there's a rental out there. But then, I know electric, there's, the security lights, all the other stuff that's out there. So yeah, I'll investigate a little bit more, just to kind of get a better idea and stuff.
And it's probably going to be more applicable, I'm assuming, to Civic, because at the baseball and softball fields, there really isn't anything else there, right? If those lights are on or off, those concessions, water, all of that are.
Yeah,
used
we
for
did,
one purpose.
we do have, the basketball court now has a light, so that was installed, so, but that was actually turned on for the first time.
The volleyball,
No, there's no.
no lights over there.
No, but it'll be used for the rink when we put the
Well,
rink.
right, I said we turned it on for the first time last year for the ice, and then I know it's been on at
Yeah,
times
of
over the summer as well, so so that's, yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
But at Civic Park, obviously
That's-
those
that's
lights
at
are on
Civic
for
Park, yeah.
far different,
Yeah,
far more purpose than just playing ball. Playing baseball.
You mean like you're talking about the basketball court or the ball field?
I'm talking about just the lights throughout,
General and stuff?
to identify where these
yeah.
meters are, and if one or the other is more specific to those, or if it's
Yeah.
just park lights.
Yeah, there's not much lighting out at Civic Park really that I can think of,
Okay.
minus the flag poles and the sign and all that stuff, but no.
And those, are nominal numbers,
Yeah,
in
those are small,
all
yeah.
fairness,
You
those
should
are
be able to
not.
go back 3 years on the bills. They have to have.
We haven't been
them.
able to get 3, though, that's the issue.
I did,
Accounts payable, they don't have 3 years.
I can ask him for 3. I had asked him just for.
Because each
for
meter
what,
has a serial number on it, which collates to the bill.
Mm-hmm.
I
There's
have
only,
to go-
there's only
I- yeah,
4 meters, though.
Yeah, right, to the meters
baseball.
on, so you should because I had to do this, so I know.
But it's identifying what those meters are running.
Yes,
That's the issue, is that even for out at the Heartland, fields, there's 2 meters there, but specifically what are they?
Two.
That's what he's gonna have to determine through NIPSCO.
they should be able to come out there and tell you. I mean, they come out and tell you.
Well, let me ask you this, Mike. Can we get these numbers figured out in December so that we
Yeah.
can get them to the parties and then try to schedule something after the first of the year?
Yeah.
Where we can get back with them and try to hammer out the actual wordage so that we can get this all wrapped up this winter so that by springtime, when they actually need to use it, we're all
Sure. Well, and I
all good to
think,
go?
I think, for purposes of these, even with what we have at this point, I mean, unless you're opposed to that, if you're authorizing to allow for those numbers to be released, I think that probably is a starting point for baseball and softball to be able to look at those numbers
Correct.
and kind of see from there, and then we can go with the breakdowns, even if it's waiting and getting, or waiting, or, supplementing then with the information of what these meters are actually going to. But,
I think we have to estimate, because you got to figure, if for some reason it's a 10-year lease, okay, obviously in the course of that 10 years, there's going to be NIPSCO increases, there's going to be water increases.
Absolutely.
I mean, these things are just natural, okay? So we're going to have to do some sort of a terminology or estimate it in some way, shape, or form that we're not revisiting this
right.
on a yearly
It'll be
basis.
just what those values are based on the use, if that's the case.
Correct.
It's just gonna be identifying, right, what are the sources of those costs, and that
Right.
turns back to, if it's a determination of a particular meter that's sharing lots of things, then maybe it's a proration of that amount, but.
Right, I guess that's where I'm going with that.
Yeah, and I think that that's kind of the, maybe the final, provisions that we can include into that I think if, as I had expressed before at the ends of these meetings, not quite sure where each of you were at with how you wanted to proceed or move forward in any proposed terms, as I had expressed previously, until getting some direction from the board. It's not something that I can draft, language to that extent until getting, kind of some direction on those terms from you. So I don't know what, if any, consideration, each of you had regarding proceeding with those, or if you're not at a point yet to be able to, give me some guidance based on the discussions with the 2 boards.
Well, like I say, I think we kind of found a decent agreement that Crown Point had that we can kind of base our ideas off of. And then, like I said, if they can produce this Civic Park agreement, then that of course would.
Consider that with it.
Right. But otherwise, I think we're probably going to have individual agreements with baseball for both Civic and for.
I think you're right.
I think.
And I would recommend it that way, actually, so that one doesn't necessarily affect the other.
Correct.
And in light of the usage for those, to be expanded or.
Right, who knows what's
Exactly.
going to happen.
In
Right.
future, yep.
Got it.
Well, I can definitely,
Well, why don't we
Kind of-
do this and try to get these numbers to them sometime in the next upcoming month before our next meeting, and then you can lay that out, and then we'll deal with it as an estimate or a cost analysis, and we'll be able to at least give them some data on what we think that number should be and how that should be dealt with, and then we can get together after the holidays and try to work out some sort of a agreement that we can all live with and move forward. Any other questions or discussion?
nope, Mike and I can work together on
Okay,
moving forward with those.
great. All right, item B, Christmas in the Park remaining events. Pat, would you like to speak to that?
Yes. We had our opening night on November 24th from 6 to 9 p.m. Our remaining events will be this Thursday. We have our an event from 6 to 9 p.m. On Saturday, we have an event from 3 to 6 p.m. We have a veterans tribute on December the 7th. We have a winter festival on the 16th, and then another one on the 21st.
12/7, the Veterans Thing, what time was that?
6 to 9 p.m.
Sorry?
6 to 9 p.m.
Thank you.
And then December 12th, we have another one, a small one, just more with pictures with Santa and stuff from 5 to 8.
Correct.
Okay, anything else for that?
I do have a question. At our last meeting, we did vote to spend X amount of money to build X amount. Where do we stand with that?
So that's not happening.
I realize it didn't happen,
Yeah.
but can it still happen?
It could, yeah, I mean, it could still happen. It
I mean,
could.
we all voted on it. We were told that we illegally voted on that, is that correct? When we made the motion to spend the $76,000 to build stuff for the park?
I'm not aware of anything having been illegal about the motion or that having been raised.
Yeah, so-
On the vote, no, I'm not aware of, I mean, you properly followed procedure to do that. I'm not aware that was a concern.
And just so everyone knows too, because I do think it's important to mention it, but no, it did not happen. And it did not happen because we had followed up with the vendor, Pat and Rebecca and myself, and the vendor had told us they had a call from an anonymous higher-ranking St. John official. Who that was, I'm not sure. The vendor did not know, or at least didn't tell me who it was. But they were intimidated in a way to not do the job, and they were threatened by saying they weren't going to get paid not to do the job. It was done illegally. I tried telling him, the vendor, that no, nothing was done wrong or nothing was done illegally as far as what I am aware of or what you guys would have been aware of. But he was pretty shaken when we had talked on the phone. So we did reach out to him numerous times. I reached out to him once by phone call again, and then at least 3 times by email. Our town manager also reached out to him as well on phone and email. But we did follow up with another email to him as we got later on, saying that we were just going to move forward without doing the job, since we have not heard back. But we never did get any replies for phone call or emails, but it was intentionally sabotaged through somebody calling him, threatening him not to do the work. So, and that was it. And then we moved forward with it, and we went out and did what we had to do to get everything ready to go, which I know there's been a lot of back and forth with it, as far as social media wise and stuff like that, which a lot of inappropriate stuff. More so with a lot of stuff coming after Pat, which is uncalled for and something that is definitely does not need, especially since this is just Parks and Recreation. It's nothing to do with the town manager, the town council. It's just for the town of St. John, and we only do what's right for the town of St. John Parks and Recreation Department. Again, not what's right for town manager's office, clerk treasurer's office, town council office, none of that stuff. This is strictly just for the Parks and Recreation. And we have purposely tried to take all the political out of everything that we do, and to make it just about the community. And the amount of people that we get on site that talk about how great things are, how we didn't know about this, how we didn't know about that. There's people who said they didn't know Christmas at the Park existed in past years. So, I know that's going to upset some people, it's going to hurt some feelings, but the work that Pat has done and Rebecca has been outstanding. And the department as a whole has really gone from nothing to something in a short amount of time. And there's only, the sky is the limit on what the possibilities can be. And it's disheartening and it's disappointing to know that you have the inner workings of individuals inside the town of St. John offices, departments who, political figures who purposely try to sabotage. We also had an incident on site on the 24th where we did have a town staff member come in and say a harassing remark to Pat near the end of the night, with using a swear word in there too. Again, not necessary, unneeded. We're only doing what we think is the best for the Parks and Recreation Department and for the community for Parks and Recreation. So,
I'm sorry, I really felt this needed to be.
Oh, I
made-
agree.
made-
I
made
agree.
Public. I apologize for the ignorance of some people. Do we have any idea who called them?
I don't know who called him. I did ask the vendor. He never gave me his name. He told me it was anonymous. I just left it as that. And I said we did try to reach out to move forward with it, but then we decided as a department we're going to move forward and do the best we can, and they did a very good job.
This was totally uncalled for, out of place. And we, as a board here, should be extremely upset. We voted on something in good faith. We read what the plans are going to be, and they sounded fantastic. I do realize that coming from a small town out east that grew from 5,000 to 20,000 in the 20 years I lived there, that we took over, a civic group used to do it, and we took it over, and it kind of all went well. And how totally irresponsible it is for people to sit here and to do something for the hard work that all of you have done in the park to make this a wonderful place. We aren't not a bedroom town anymore. The price of the homes in this community warrant us to have something that was extraordinary. I thought what you proposed and what we voted on was an extraordinary and lovely addition to this town and to the holiday season. And for who's ever out there, and I will say, I don't know anybody in this town. I have kept out of politics, was in politics out east, kept out of politics here, but I find it totally appalling that anybody who is in the town office, elected, or just an employee of this town would do such a despicable thing. And that's all I have to say on this.
Okay. Pat, anything you want to add?
Not at this moment.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Moving on, item 7, reports. Town Council Liaison Report. Councilman Aurelio.
So I just want to say a few, maybe echo a few words about the same topic we're talking about. I was wondering, and I did not know the details until just now, of why that purchase was not completed. An elected official called. It must have been a real elected official, somebody with some power, that threatened somebody with a nice order like that and have them too scared to deliver and make a profit. Must have been one heck of a threat, incredible threat at that. I want to add to that, Pat, the Parks Department. Thank God for you guys. You know, we appreciate your hard work. You put up with that kind of garbage. It's really too bad. It's a sad continuing situation that goes on. I appreciate, the town appreciates, the families appreciate your hard work, Mike, your hard work, the board, your hard work at making St. John a better place. It is a great town. We have a handful of people that have power here that think they rule the world. It's too bad. It's unfortunate. But the sun will come up tomorrow. So thank God for that. But anyways, I hope everybody had a nice Thanksgiving. I do really hope that everybody here continues to enjoy the beginning here of the Christmas season as we get into it. It's a wonderful time of year. Let's try to avoid some, like I said, just turn our head to some of that noise and nastiness. It's just a shame. And enjoy the season for what it is. God has blessed this country, our town, with just wonderful things. We have way more good than bad. Thank God for that. Just thankful for that. And thankful for you guys and your hard work. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Town manager's report, we won't get that. He's not here tonight. And then we'll go to item C, Parks and Recreation Board members. Cindy, anything you'd like to add?
Thanks for your hard work, Patrick. I know that the community came out and they're going to continue to come out and take those pictures with Santa. So, and the other events you have going on, the veterans and the Winter Festival. So thank you, and thank you, Mike, for all your hard work. And that's all I have.
Okay. Barb?
I just wish everybody a happy holiday season. Do we meet before Christmas?
December 20th.
In that case, I won't wish anybody a Merry Christmas. We'll wait for that.
You'll have your
You
opportunity.
could do it multiple
I'll have
times.
my opportunity.
You'll have your opportunity.
Opportunity then, but everybody don't eat too much. I've already gained 10 pounds, so this is, I'm not doing well on this season.
Yeah, otherwise, our normal meeting night would have been the day after
Okay.
Christmas. So we're moving it up a week. And just to tie up some loose ends for the year. So, yeah.
To
We had
Wednesday,
made
the
that
20th?
decision.
Wednesday the 20th,
I'm
yeah.
sure you did, and I probably have it in the.
It was
I just thought I
probably
should ask.
4 or 5
There
months
was
ago
no-
because we seen this issue coming, so. But yeah, it's good to bring it up because, just a reminder. Mike, you got anything to add?
Of course, the batting cages. Did we pull
Yes.
those nets back?
No,
or
they're still
can we
there.
ask
I'll
them?
get them down. We'll get them down. We got a little more time now and stuff like that, so we'll.
That isn't once those heavy
Snow
freezing
comes and
that
stuff
turns-
like that, yeah.
Or the freezing
yeah.
rain that turns to
No,
snow.
yeah, I have not forgotten about it. Every time I come here for a meeting or something, I always think about you. I'm like, it's darn nuts. And then if I could just add one thing real quick, the ice rink, we are planning on putting that up again. So we're gonna start here. It's supposed to be 40 the rest of the week here and through December 11th, more likely. So we are gonna hopefully get that up, or we will get that up by Christmas break at least, so.
Okay.
So we'll have that.
And hopefully we'll have enough cold weather that we can actually,
Well, we have a different plan. We do have a different plan than what we had last year. The Civic Park batting cage is pitched,
tennis court, you mean?
or tennis court is pitched, not like a normal tennis court. I mean, there's about what do we say? It's close to about a 10-inch decline on there and stuff like that. So because we had literally 12 inches of water on one side and almost 3 on the other side. So we're going to shrink it slightly and adjust it. Still be large, but to a point where we could at least get 8 and 3 on one side. So
Okay.
we'll be able to freeze through better, a lot better. So on days where it's like 35, we still should be able to skate on there and stuff like
Right.
that too. So
Okay. I too would like to reiterate what Cindy and Barb and everyone else here thinks about the work that you guys have done. I realize after some of the issues we had with that vendor, to have only 3 weeks to get the job done with a limited skeleton crew, you guys did an amazing job. And I'm thankful for you. It's been a pleasure working with you. I hope to continue, but I understand that, things happen and it is what it is. But as we move forward, I would just like to thank you guys once again, Mike and Patrick and Rebecca. And I realize you're only a limited staff, but you do a lot. And some of the new events that we've started this year, I think will only grow. So bless you for that. All right. Item number 8, any and all.
I actually just had, go ahead, sorry.
Oh, no. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I just had one thing that I'll bring on this to December and stuff like that, so we don't have to vote or anything now. But I did put another printout. I emailed this late in the day, but this is just the portable restrooms for 2024.
Okay.
Premier portable restrooms did reply back and saying they would keep the price is the same as 2023, basically. So, here is basically a list of all the restrooms, the locations, the special events. I did include Freedom Fest here, and I did include a few for the concert as we had done before. So, I was going to bring this in December to go ahead and do that, but go ahead and then take a look at that. That would be the fees for 2024. So.
Okay. Anything else, Mike?
No.
Okay. Nicole, you got anything?
I apologize. I wasn't aware that the meeting was changed December 20th or to December 20th, that Wednesday. Is that scheduled for 5?
Yes.
Okay, I won't be able to be here.
Okay.
I have a
Commitment.
monthly or I'm sorry, every other month court in Lowell. It's a standing court call on that Wednesday, so I apologize. But I
Yeah, it
will
is a
definitely be in touch
Yeah, it is a
with,
Wednesday.
yeah, throws off the day, so.
Well, like I said, you two guys, between you and Mike, if you guys can just kind of collaborate.
Absolutely.
And even if you can email us a report or a status of what you think, and that we make sure that baseball and softball
Absolutely.
get some of these numbers so that they have an opportunity to. I don't want to slam them with these numbers and then ask them to show up a week later and
I agree.
try
I
to
agree.
figure some of this out. I think they're entitled
We'll get
to
these to them quickly.
adequate
and-
amount of time to understand and digest and prepare for this next arbitrary meeting or arbitration meeting, I should say.
Absolutely.
Okay. Anybody else got anything for any and all? Okay, moving on to item number 9, public comment. Is there anyone here that would like to speak? Floor is open.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mike Bovet, 9291 West 103rd Place. Just came here to hear what was going on and kind of heard kind of the comments and whatnot. I think it's unfortunate, it's a little absurd to blame others for events that just took place. I think everybody has to measure up to what they should be accountable for. I know that this is something that's been big to the town of St. John, the Christmas in the park, something that people have been well aware of since February. And I think the goal should always be to work together and to blame someone else for shortcomings. I just don't think that serves any good purpose at all. The goal should always be that we would work together and do something positive. That's what the goal should be, and that's what we should be striving for.
Thank you. Anybody else?
We have 3 young men back there. You don't want to talk? You just came? You guys are that bored, huh?
Okay. Pat?
All right. After everything that was said, although I'm not 100% sure of or aware of shortcomings that we have had. Members of the board, Superintendent O'Shea, Jason, Nicole, Mike Aurelio, thank you guys for coming tonight, and I would ask for your patience a little bit. My name is Patrick Tortorisi. You know me as the Parks and Recreation Coordinator. I've never been one who is big on titles. Among other titles that I do have, I am a small business owner of a online and in-person personal training and coaching company, have been since 2019. I sit on the board as the Vice President for the St. John Dyer Chamber of Commerce. I am a track coach over at the Lake Central High School as the sprints and hurdles track coach for the boys team. I sit on the board for the Lake Central Dollars for Scholars. I am a member of the board for my homeowners association. None of those compare or all of those pale into comparison. I am a father of 2 beautiful children and a husband to an amazing wife. If you want me to throw more in there, I have my bachelor's degree in kinesiology. I have taken, over the 13 years I have been in my field, over 100 hours continuing education. I've had 7 different certifications in those various fields. I'd be happy to go over any one of those with you. I struggle to begin with what needs to be said. Firstly, I would like to be said, it has been warned to me that my words reflect other people, so I would like it to be known that come January 2nd, this is at a date that Mr. O'Shea and I have agreed upon, I will no longer be with the Parks and Recreation Department. I do want this to be a smooth transition. That's why we picked the dates that we did. I want to help transition the department well, make sure that there's no hiccups. The person who is coming and taking my place is well trained, so that the community is not affected by this, or if affected as little as possible. This position was never a need for me. It was a calling. I love helping. I enjoy doing good things in my community and doing good things for people. I volunteer a lot of my time through all those titles I was looking at and reading through. I volunteer a lot of my time, and it has always been to help. I don't believe it's been for self-serving interests. We often muddy the water of good and bad with what I would call better or worse. That is incorrect. We must always keep our ethics good. Good is a compass. Good is our northern star. When we are not striving towards good, or when we're fighting for better or worse, we are rats in a maze. When we are trying to do good, we realize we're in a maze and we transcend. There's power in community. There's power in unity. There's so much good in this community. As Mike was saying, if you look at the Parks and Recreation Department, by any measure or statistic, you can't help but see that this is a positive movement, that this is a progressive movement towards good. The number of programs we offer, the events that we offer, the amount of people we are reaching and getting a hold of on a regular basis is all up. The comments that we get from people are up for good. But you look on social media and other media sources and avenues in this community, and you get a different picture. You get the exact opposite of what I just described. Now, I'm going to pause here and let that sink in, because yes, I absolutely brought up social media. If we as a community and as a society do not believe or do not see that social media is part of this ethos, you're keeping your head in the ground. People who are listening at home are viewing this through YouTube, a social media site. So to believe that social media is not part of this ethos anymore for this community is not true. And we must clean up our community. We must expect our community to do good. Not better, not worse, good. I'm not the most intelligent man in the world. My expertise is a very narrow field. You ask me about the human body, absolutely, I'll be happy to tell you anything and everything you need to know. Personal training, absolutely. Events, that's my expertise. I ask questions. I'm a very curious person. When I hear somebody, an expert, talk in their field, I'm usually pretty open to their opinion. I've heard Miss Nicole Bennett speak on many occasions, and I'm fascinated by what she the understanding of the law that she has. I am interested in what people have to say. I ask a lot of questions, but when questions are met with hostility, harassment, I have been written up in this department for asking questions. Met with hostility, met with outright harassment. Now, this is not my fight. Politics has never been my fight. Government has never been my fight. I didn't even know if I was going to stand up and speak today. Because this isn't my fight. I am a passionate person. I want to do good, and if I see people doing bad, I can't help but say something. But this is, again, this isn't my town. My fight's with fighting the rising obesity rate. My only hope is that this may, if this resonated with somebody, if this has resonated with you, be good. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. That being said, anybody else? Okay, then we'll close public comment and I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make-
I have that motion, so moved.
Second.
You have a second? Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, we are adjourned. Thank you.